We just have differences, and that's what we're just exploring, you know.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth here still in beautiful Acapulco, Mexico, and I'm currently joined by Sasha Daygame. This is a man who understands the differences between men and women. Believe it or not, there are some, but it seems to be a difficult concept for some to understand. I recently saw some of your videos. One girl in particular had a little bit of almost a bit of a breakdown. Can you explain what, in your opinion, was going on there, psychology-wise, and maybe just tell people, if they haven't seen the video, a little bit about what happened?
Sure. Well, I was in oh, you're holding it. Okay. Yeah, so I was in New York City, and we're like, let's have some fun. And my idea of fun is just like pointing up the programming in society, because I'm all about like brainwashing people, having men come into their own power as creators and create the world they want to create. And there seemed to have been, my impression was there was kind of like an anti-man stigma in the States and in New York. Like, you can't, being a man is bad, being sexual, but anything you do as a man, you're bad. And I was like, what is this? And one of my buddies, Jeff, he just turns to me, he's like, dude, I'll tell you what would be a funny video if you went out and you just asked people on, just asked women, what are 3 things men are good at? But I thought, well, let's be sneaky about it. Let's ask them what women are good at. See if they open up, and then be like, okay, cool, and what are some things men are good at? So, as you can imagine, going around asking women, hey, name some 3 things women are better at. It was really easy. Women were like, oh my God, we're more feeling, we're better at making babies, we're more loving, we're smarter, we're better. Like, a lot of women were like, we're better at everything. Like, they actually said that. A lot of women were like, we're better at everything. And then I would just be like, okay, cool. And what are some things men are better at? And I would just put the mic in their face, and they would just go silent. Absolutely, their faces would just go, like it was like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, hey, I need to borrow $50 million. It was the same. It was just, they were gone. And it was fascinating to see that women could just absolutely, the level of programming to not be able to come up with things that one sex are naturally better at than others was shocking.
Well, what do you chalk that up to? I mean, like, how can somebody not even fathom that or come up with something on the spot? Is it deep-seated programming? Is it coming from the universities? I mean, how does something like this happen?
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be possible. You know what I mean? Like, any society where people like use their brain and are intelligent and are rational really shouldn't be possible in either way, right? It'd be really weird, like 25 years ago, that a man couldn't say what women are better at, or a woman couldn't say what a man's better at. In fact, if you couldn't, people would think you were, I mean, no offense to anyone, but people would think you were mentally retarded. Yeah. Because your IQ level, for you not to be able to, it's like me saying, like, what are dogs good at? If you can't come up with, like, dogs are good at eating and running around and being happy, or describe, like, the question, what are men better at than women, is about as difficult as, like, what color is the sky, or what's water useful for? It's a really basic question. It really doesn't take a lot of thinking or creativity. So for any being not to be able to answer something that basic, either they're mentally retarded, or they're brainwashed to such a degree where it's, quite frankly, it's just shocking that in this society we live in that there could be such levels of brainwashing. But that's what it is. It must be.
Is it? I mean, we're currently in this politically correct movement almost, where everybody's kind of dancing around on eggshells, and they're kind of nervous to speak out without offending someone. Is it possible that these women, just didn't want to offend other women, and were just kind of dancing around the issue?
I don't think so. It didn't seem that way, because they really seemed genuinely shocked, and they just couldn't come up with anything. Like, they were trying. They really were trying, but their programming was so deep. They weren't aware of the programming, and they could not name anything. And in the one video you mentioned, one woman was basically saying, oh no, like she couldn't come up with anything. And I said, what about just physical strength? Men are physically stronger than women. And she was like, no, I don't believe that to be true. That's an old stereotype. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you think genetically women are catching up now so that you're going to get to me? And she's like, no, it's a belief. And I was like, no, it's not a belief though. We are, like, it's like saying, well, women make babies and men don't. It's like saying that's a belief. It's not a belief. Women have a vagina, they make babies. Men have more testosterone, they're physically stronger. I mean, it's literally like saying water is what you drink if you're thirsty. No, it isn't. We just find it really interesting how people are scared to say that we're different. I think it's okay to say that we're different. We all have our things that we're good at. Doesn't mean any sex is superior, but we're just different. We're just not the same, you know?
I think it's just the word strong is a difficult one to apply to this because it's like saying women aren't strong.
We're only talking about physical strength. We're not talking like overall strength or goodness or any of those things. Just physically. That's all it was.
Yeah, I think I get that. But I'm just questioning if there's another word that might, make it easier for people to say yes or no to that,
I don't know. What's another good word for strong?
No, that's what I'm proposing is.
It's a good word though. Strong is the word. Strong. Look at that. Look at that. That's strong.
Yeah.
Water? No, that's not the thing to do when you're thirsty. You need to eat a sandwich if you're thirsty. It's literally as logical as that. It's insane.
It is pure insanity. I mean, that's like saying that if you pit up against the world's fastest runner, Usain Bolt, up against the world's fastest female runner, whoever she is, Hussein's gonna win. I mean, that's not controversial to say. Men are physically stronger. In fact, I got into a discussion with a feminist one time, and we got into a bit of an argument about the fact that the best billiards player in the world would go up against the best female player in the world and would destroy her every time. But there's nothing physical about that. And she disagreed that that's certainly not possible. But it is. That's just the way it is. Now, how do we deal with this? I guess, how do we counter this? How do we wake people up to, question their reality and open up their minds a little bit and not be so judgmental towards men who are clearly not the problem, right? How do we get people to figure out that the big bad patriarchy is not what they need to worry about?
No, it's definitely not what we need to worry about. Well, I mean, my view is always that the forces that be, the same forces that have created central banking, that run the IMF, that are basically raping and pillaging everybody by creating, literally the whole world is under control. And so it's not that just they control the monetary system, they control the media, they control the news, they control the fear-based society that's coming out. So their job is actually keep us in a lower state of consciousness, to lower our frequency, lower our consciousness, so we're all fighting each other. And that's how they do it. They do it economically by making everybody, a system has been created where we have to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. We're really hustling just to feed your kids, just to make the money to pay the rent. So that's one way. Again, turning men against women, women against men. So creating that war between the sexes, that's being created. Rich versus poor, black versus white. Any groups they can turn against each other, that's what they want, because we're so busy fighting each other, we don't turn around and go, we know that there's trillions and trillions of dollars out there that are hidden. Who controls them? Where's this money coming from? How does central banking actually work? They don't want us to wake up. So the best way is to get us fighting each other and to control everybody, get everybody sick, put fluoride in the water. They're doing weather modification programs, putting heavy metals all over the place. They're trying to get 5G networks up. Now you did a video about that. They're going to get people way, way sicker. So again, when you have people sick and confused and can't think logically or clearly, no one has the mental capacity or energy to really look at the big picture. Who is trying to get us to fight each other? That's what's going on here, and this is just another example of that. So I was just trying to point out that, hey, we're brainwashed. Let's wake up a little bit.
Well, that takes us to what you do with your channel, what you do for a living, really. So why don't we end on that? Because you are actively trying to counter this stuff by going out and giving men an example of how to be, right? So tell us a little bit about the Infinite Man Summit and what you got coming up in the near future.
Sure. So for a long time, I was a dating coach. I started out with a really tough childhood, crazy mom, no father figure. So I really had no confidence in myself, didn't feel good about who I was. So I really struggled with women. I decided to do something crazy and just start walking around the streets hitting on girls. So I did that for many years. It was a lot of fun. But after a while, and kind of mastering that fear of rejection and starting to like myself a lot more, I just realized there's so much more to life. Being healthy in the body, finding your passion, doing what you love for a living. And there's just so much healing to be. We're all really traumatized. The system really traumatizes us all. So I started this event that was all just about health, wealth, relationships, finding your purpose, working on yourself, becoming the highest possible version of yourself so you can go and create the life that you want to have. I work with men. I help men as much as I can. It's my passion. I love it. I've seen many, many guys come to me who are just like, didn't believe in themselves, didn't have the income they wanted, didn't have the guts to start a business, didn't have the guts to go out there and meet the girl of their dreams. And they're very successful. Some of them are quite rich. Some of them are engaged. Some of them are married. Some of them have kids. So it's all just about taking control of your life, really. And again, it's We live in a world where that's really, there's so many distractions, you know, the booze, the drugs, the brainwashing, the TV, the Netflix, so many things that can take you away from your power. But if you decide as a man, you know, I'm going to take responsibility, and I'm just going to stop blaming others, and I'm really going to create, manifest the life that I want. It is possible, and that's what the Infinite Man is about, just taking control and working with your brothers to create the life that you want for yourself.
What a great message. You know, you do have the power within yourself to make those changes if you know, work on yourself, because that's what it takes, you know. So what are the links? Anybody who might want to find out where they can learn more from you?
Sure. You can check out the infinitemansummit.com. There's always events happening. There'll be one in Europe this year in 2019, and probably one in North America as well. So you can check that out. And for those of you that are more on the path of like self-love and really waking up a little bit more in this spiritual path, you know, raising your consciousness and your vibration, I have a spiritual podcast. That's just my passion, and it's the Woke as Fuck podcast, and it's www.woke.as, and you can follow my interviews on there too.
All right, well, links will be located in the description below, guys. Check it out. Once again, Sasha, thanks for talking to us.
Thanks for doing what you do, man.
We all want truth. The truth will set you free.